I have made an irresponsible decision. I've bought a 2025 GX 550. No, I'm kidding. I haven't bought that. But I did make an irresponsible decision. When I drove the 2024 GX 550, at the end of the video, I told you guys to go with the Overtrail spec. Only thing is, I wasn't driving the Overtrail spec. I was driving the luxury trim, the L8, the Beverly Hills trim, right? The Vancouver trim. Big 22-inch wheels, and maybe not the best for off-roading, which on the spectrum between luxury and off-roading, the GX kind of leans more towards off-roading. And after having driven the F-Pace SVR with nearly 600 horsepower, it felt a little bit silly. So consider this a practical video. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not driving the luxury trim this time. I'm driving the Overtrail Plus. First things you'll notice, and this is new for the 2025 model year, is that both the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus sit 1.1 inches taller than the standard trims. So that's the first change. 22s on the luxury trim, 18s here. So we've got 33-inch tires here, big knobby off-road tires, all-terrain tires, versus the city spec, the G-Wagon spec. Yeah, the curb appeal with those wheels is good, but what suffers is the ride quality, right? And I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, hey, it's a body-on-frame truck at the end of the day, solid rear axle, independent front suspension, but it's gonna be an uphill battle here on the street to make it as comfortable as a Range Rover. It's never gonna get there, right? But Lexus has done their best, and I hate to say it, but it's better here on the road. It's a lot more comfortable. It's not only the extra sidewall. You know, sidewall goes so far. This one has adaptive suspension, and it has what Lexus calls KDSS, EKDSS, which is electronic kinematic damper stabilization system. Did I get that right? We're gonna see what that does once we get off the pavement. It's way more comfortable here. That's the bottom line. The dampers are better, it's smoother. It's still a bit jarring here over the big stuff. You're never going to be able to escape the fact you're in a truck. This is truck stuff, right? It doesn't have a bed, but at the end of the day, it is a truck, right? The small stuff though, all of the little road imperfections, gone. This is what I wanted from the GX 550. If before it was an 8 out of 10 in ride quality, it's a 9 now. With both the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus, we do have additional drive modes. So we hit the mode select switch down here. We obviously have a custom mode. We can adjust our steering weight, our damping settings. I leave it in comfort most of the time. If you put it in sport, mostly what that does, especially here on a road like this, is just irons out a little bit of that body roll as much as you can, but you're not escaping the fact that this weighs almost 6,000 pounds. It's not a back road carver. Still the same 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 under the hood, 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque, which is more torque than any Ford Bronco, including the Bronco Raptor that is priced quite a bit higher than this. Oh, we get a little bit more very synthetic engine noises coming through in Sport and Sport Plus. Oh, wow, we almost got air right there. I'm glad I got to revisit the GX because little things begin to show, and in a second I'm going to tell you a couple of things that have come through that I really don't like about the user experience here, but they're few and far between. Powertrain, pretty much perfect. I would avoid the paddles. You're gonna be disappointed. That's one of those life lessons you kind of have to learn. You might have to learn by just doing it if you've driven a GX, or if you're about to. You're gonna tug the paddles and you're gonna be like, oh, Marcus was right. Just leaving it automatic. You'll be a lot happier. Smooth to respond. It's not that laggy. It's no V8. You guys, that conversation ended a long time ago. It's no V8, but it's not laggy. This is a great daily. This could be your only car. I think combine this with an LC500 and that's a perfect two-car garage. if you don't care about fuel economy, because this gets an average of 13.5 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not good. That's 17 miles per gallon. There are other changes for the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. Let's get into it. You're not going to be able to convince me that Nori Green Pearl isn't the best color for the GX 550. This or that kind of sandstorm color, I don't know where that word came from just now. Those are the two best colors, but here it's kind of camouflaging into the background in the Pacific Northwest. It's great. I'll throw up some shots right here in the sun. So good. I don't have to tell you guys how much I love looking at the GX 550. It's gonna age really well. This is why the G-Wagon hasn't really changed over the last 3 decades. It's because boxes don't age. It's great, but it sets itself apart far enough from the Land Cruiser. With this wheel setup, it's also slightly wider than all the other trims. Of course, we still have the same running boards. Really, really aggressive fender flares. Underneath here, we can see a couple other changes. Skid plates. So I mentioned this in the last video, but we have a trans skid plate way back there. And then of course we have a big skid plate here in the front, one in the back. Every GX 550 comes with a locking center differential. The Overtrail and Overtrail Plus get a locking rear differential. So you might have to be deep in the woods to really get to use that. A lot of people are probably using that in scenarios where they don't have to. The 4-wheel drive is very smart, as we're gonna see in a second here, but that is there if you need it. Bigger roof racks for the Overtrail. Both of the Overtrails can also tow 1,200 pounds more than the standard models. So it's a little bit more there. Back here, of course, we still have the glass that pops open. Of course, power lift gate. This also gets, this is a huge change for this model year, an onboard compressor. That is huge. I don't know if we're gonna be using that today. I don't think I'm really doing enough to warrant using that to go down in pressure, but there you go. You can air up and air down from the factory. Second row has sunshades, which the standard Overtrail does not get, and a few other features. Plenty of space back here. Nothing crazy. We do have heated seats back here. You don't get that in the standard Overtrail. What you also don't get in the standard Overtrail is the cool box. That's awesome. Now it does say, do not store meat or fish in there. I think that's a liability issue. So now we're on to the good stuff, the interior. All of the physical controls are still here, of course. The important stuff, the drive modes, the off-roading stuff, it's all easy to find, real tactile. There's your 4 low there. Put it back into 4 high, and then we have our settings for the locking differentials. And then here, that controls our standard drive mode, and this is what I mean. When I go left, that to me tells me it should go up, but it goes down. And then when I move it right, it goes up. That's backwards to me. But great graphics on the screen, a ton of information. And then if we click MTS, that's our multi-terrain select. And then we have different drive modes once again. So not just snow, by the way, deep snow. One thing I will mention though, look at these graphics, great colors. I mean, the pixel density is insane. It looks phenomenal. And then here for the standard display, it looks very minimalist, which I do like. We have our pitch and our roll there. And I can put a map in the center, which is great. But first off, it doesn't fill up the whole thing. It's just a little box in the center. And it's only the native map that can be displayed here. If you're connected via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, your map will not show here. So that's a big miss. I don't know why. Clearly, it's a high enough resolution screen to do that, and they just don't. That's a big miss. Another thing I don't like, this might be small, but there are entire forum threads that I found, Lexus, listen up, dedicated to this, people trying to figure this out. So I have my trip odometer A set, right? And you'd think, like in any other new vehicle that I've driven, it would be tracking my specific fuel economy for that trip individually. The GX 550 can't seem to do that. It contains your total fuel economy, but not for trip A or trip B. Just maybe your drive, like from when the car turns on to when it turns off, but not a specific trip, like over a road trip or over a week. You can't do that. That's weird. Massage seats are awesome here. I love that the Overtrail Plus has that. That's not something that the standard Overtrail has. Let's say I want to turn on the massage. We're on the map right now. First off, if I want to turn on heated seats, I have to, well, what do I have to do? It's not here. There we go. If you hit anything else other than map, then the heated seats come up. And then massage is buried even further. This is a redundant menu screen here that shouldn't even be there. But you have to click massage, you tap a seat to select it, and then you can turn it on. Volvo does it better, Acura does it better. It's on the side of the seat. You just hit it, comes up on the screen. So much easier. We've still got to test it off-road just a little bit. I'm out here by myself. I'm not looking to get a flat tire. I told you guys to get the Overtrail. Let's go and see if that's the right move. We also get downhill assist, downhill crawl assist. And this is new for 2025, auxiliary ports down here. So we've got 4 of them, and that's if you want to hook up, obviously, like a light bar or any other number of accessories. That's there. We can get our trail cams up, actually, because we do have those. Yeah, it's nice knowing I actually have a little bit of ground clearance. These big rocks here. I'm not so much worried about, oh, there we're leaning. I don't like that it doesn't tell me the exact degrees. That was something that Colorado had that was kind of nice, but see this smile? That's what you get a GX for. You know, all of the sports cars I drive and the fun manual transmission, 8,000 RPM V8s that are out there, there's something to be said about having a ton of fun at the lowest speed possible. You know, it's a different take on slow car fast. In this case, slow car slow. It's like in 2025, off-roading is so, knock on wood, somewhere, please, easy and comfortable. 4 low? All right, 4 low. Lock the center diff. All right, so earlier I mentioned KDSS. What is that? It's effectively anti-roll bars that are electronically controlled to disable and re-engage on their own. That's a simple way of putting it, but to demonstrate, I've just kind of parked it on this grade here, and you can see the articulation. This is key in off-roading. Of course, this is probably, arguably more important than ground clearance. Of course, you've got approach and departure angles, all that stuff comes into play. So in the Land Cruiser, it's a manual setup. You have to tell the vehicle to do this. The GX is electronic. It just does this on its own, which is pretty trick, and it individually disconnects the sway bars when it needs articulation. It's not actually disconnecting them, it's just kind of loosening them up, but look at that, tucked. So cool. I think it still stands. I think my original hypothesis still stands. I don't know who's buying the luxury spec of the GX. I just don't know who it's for. It rides a little bit stiffer than all the other unibody SUVs. If this is your daily, if this is gonna be your only car all year round, and you're actually gonna do some significant off-roading, I would go Overtrail Plus, because it's got the 21 speaker Mark Levinson sound system, it has the cool box, and it has the air compressor. I wish the standard Overtrail would get the air compressor as well, but it's mostly the ground clearance and the skid plates. Like in the luxury model, 22s and no skid plates, I wouldn't be out here, even with this light duty stuff I just did. It's not too expensive, starts at $65,000 USD. This one as spec'd, $83,000 USD or $112,000 Canadian. That's a little bit less, about $10,000 less than you'll pay for a Bronco Raptor. Now, some would argue, especially because the Bronco Raptor does have a locking front differential, which this does not have, little thing, but that would be a little bit more capable off-road. Yes, but it's a lot wider. So any narrow trails you're going down here, the GX is perfect. It's like a G-Wagon, you know? Okay, maybe it's not a G-Wagon, but it could absolutely be your daily driver. More than that, it could be your only vehicle if you don't need a sports car. That's what the GX does so well. Everything that you would expect from a Lexus, great interior, great sound system, massage seats, but with the ability to go out on the weekends wherever you want, basically wherever you want. There's a limit to any vehicle, but you get what I'm saying. So thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next time.